Cameron Duncan. I'm one of the account executives over here at Sage AP Automation, and I work with different companies every single day just to walk through what your current accounts payable workflow looks like and find out where that typical manual process can have some automation and reduce the time you're spending on lots of manual tasks there. So I'll start off by walking you through with a quick little demonstration of our tool. This is on the cloud, so I do want to note we integrate with any version of Sage, so Sage 100 for sure. Any of the others as well. we integrate with Sage pretty seamlessly over here. So any Sage that you have, we are going to be essentially an extension of that. So you can see on this page here on the left-hand side, we have our 4 modules. So we have our invoices, our payments, our purchase orders, and our expenses. And each one of our customers has their own unique instance where they can pick and choose which of these modules they'd like. Everyone has invoices, so I'll be running through a demonstration of that today. Now up here is the life cycle of an invoice, so it flows from left to right. And down here we have our workspace. So like I said, we integrate with Sage. This is all pre-Sage. So when you receive an invoice, typical companies oftentimes code this invoice manually. Maybe need to get it approved somehow. So whether that be by shooting off an email, a Teams message, maybe even printing out the emailed invoice and bringing it to someone's desk, getting a stamp of approval. We are going to digitize this entire process. So right now, this workspace, this is before anything has been pushed into Sage. Now, in terms of the first step, we need to get invoices into the system. So there's 3 ways for us to do that. The first one, we have an auto forwarding email address. So most companies nowadays receive their invoices to an AP email inbox. So we'll create an auto forwarding rule. So no new inbox needs to be created. We'll simply automatically push these invoices from that email address into our system. So hands-free, all new invoices appear within the new tab. For those that still get paper invoices, there's always a couple. We can take a photo of the invoice using our app, and that'll upload it into our system. Or you can do a good old-fashioned scan and drag and drop. Any one of those 3 ways, first step, we just got to make sure we're getting them into the system. Now, once they're in here, it's going to start to code a lot of this information. So things like vendors, like I said, we are integrated with Sage. So this vendor list is actually pulled straight from Sage. So let's say you have a new vendor, right? You're gonna go and create that vendor within Sage exactly as how you're doing nowadays, and it'll appear here within this list. The invoice number, which is typically coded manually, will be read and automatically coded. The date, the payment terms will calculate a due date based on those terms if they're on the invoice there. And then down here, it's going to grab the information on that line item detail as well. So not only the numbers, but also the descriptions. And this is where we can have some machine learning start to take place. So Standard Gadget and Branded Hats, they both already have GL codes. So getting these GL codes could be assigned in any amount of ways, right? So sometimes it's routed through the approvals. Sometimes the person or the accounts payable specialist knows exactly what GLs to put. We're going to be teaching the system so that no matter which route it goes to get that GL assigned, it's going to remember what was put last time based on the description from this vendor. So in this instance, where Standard Gadget and Branded Hats both have GLs, we've seen this description from this vendor in the past, but Geo4 Supply is here. This is brand new. So we're going to select that GL list, and same thing as what happens with the vendors, this GL list is going to be pulled straight from Sage. So at the end of the day, Sage is always going to be your source of truth. Find that GL code or type it in, and next time you receive that description, it's going to automatically assign that same GL as well. So if you look at that typical manual process of gathering your invoices, coding them, and then routing them through to get approved, with this automation in place, typically our customers see a time savings of around 83%. So turning many manual hours and human error possibilities into an automated error-free process. Now, once this has been coded, we want to submit this for approval. And in the back end, we're going to create some approval structures based on any variety of details that we can think of. So whether it be based on specific dollar amounts, specific legal entities as well. For those of you that have multiple legal entities, we can pull each one of those instances in with their own GL codes, their own vendors, and through that we'll create rules. So some examples here, any invoice above $10,000 with this GL and from this vendor will get routed to these people here. Now, something I want to note is that we all love Sage, right? But they do charge per user. So we are not on that same spectrum there. We do not charge per user, meaning we have unlimited users within our system. So any amount of approvers that you need to have in here, you definitely can. And we can add them into an approval workflow. So for example, let's add in that CFO. We can modify the order. Or let's say we don't need 3, we can actually group these 2 together. So starting off with Sally, the AP clerk, she'll be approving that first invoice. Once she approves it, it's going to get sent to the CEO and the CFO. Whoever approves that first out of the group will push that through to the next round. This approval can be done either within the browser or on our app. Simply by clicking on that pending approval, the approver will receive a notification saying, hey, you have this invoice you need to approve. Open it up, see a copy of that information, approve or reject. If rejected, it'll get sent back to the previous person. If approved, it'll get passed through and ready to get pushed into Sage. Now we have a seamless integration with Sage, so this will happen behind the scenes. Typically every 4 hours is the scheduled sync, but we can make this more or less frequent depending on your needs. And once it's pushed in there, we also are going to be storing these invoices for you. So I hear all kinds of stories, new ones every single day, surprisingly, but the most common one is definitely filing cabinets or stored in a SharePoint. Now, I would definitely recommend a SharePoint over a filing cabinet. Both are organized in their own way, but above any of those, we will just do all that filing for you. So you can completely eradicate the time that it takes for you to file any of these approved and verified invoices. Now, in the middle here, we have a filter bar. So this filter bar is where we can create reports based on any dimension that you can think of that's on an invoice. So whether you have multiple legal entities, you can pick and choose the ones you want. Org unit, that's our word for organizational structure. So here we have like marketing, sales, IT, some people do departments, some people do locations. And then we can create filters based on any other dimension that's on an invoice. So whether it's a description or a vendor or a GL or whether it's been paid or not, if it's on the invoice, we can create a filter for that. So an example I always like to show is just based on vendor. With one click, I can now see all invoices from ABC Furniture, one of our sample vendors within our system. And I can create a report. So this can be either shown to my boss based on what we've received from this vendor, or it can be audit ready and show it to an auditor as well. Once that report is prepared, we'll see a summary of all invoices within that filter, starting off with a summary page. That summary page will list everything that we can see, all the information that was pushed into Sage, a total dollar amount. We can scroll through, find actual copies of the invoices, or if we want to go ahead and just select one of these numbers on the sides, they are hyperlinks. It'll show us that invoice, the coding information that was pushed right into Sage, the approval history. And for those of you that have purchase orders, it can show any backup documentation or any purchase orders that were matched. And that matching, by the way, will happen automatically as well. We can pull those POs into our system along with that any receivings that have been pulled into Sage or entered into Sage as well. So open up the invoice and then we can actually see that side-by-side comparison of that PO with that invoice. Now, we do have the 3 other modules just for time's sake today. If you are curious with that, reach out and we can definitely show you a one-on-one demo and how those payments, purchase orders, or expenses, which includes credit card reconciliation and employee reimbursements, works out. But thanks so much for the time, everyone. Appreciate it.